There is big news in the Big 12. Lyn-J Dixon, a transfer from Clemson that ended up at West Virginia in the offseason, has decided to re-enter the transfer portal. This is big news because he could have been a starter. He was that good. I mean, I know he had a not so great year in 2021 for Clemson, but the year before, 42 rushing attempts for 190 yards, including 2 touchdowns. But the year before that, even in 2019, 104 rushing attempts, 635 yards with 6 touchdowns. And in 2018, 62 rushing attempts for 547 yards with 5 touchdowns. And he could catch the ball too. In 2019, especially 14 receptions for 121 yards. So yeah, he was a guy that was brought in the offseason. And I think this is a big loss because the only proven guy at running back now is Tony Mathis Jr. Because Letty Brown's gone. He's gone to the NFL. I mean, Tony Mathis Jr. is going to be a junior this year. Last year, he had 72 rushing attempts, 312 yards. That's the leading rusher you return. That's a big loss. He did have 7 catches for 29 yards. So, Yeah, the other guys are like Justin Johnson Jr., but he only had 24 rushing attempts for 90 yards last year. Not that great. And 2 receptions for 9 yards. But Jalen Anderson Jr. or Jalen Anderson didn't even play last year for West Virginia. So it's just really one proven guy at running back right now. That to me is a problem. That can be a problem for them. And I know they returned 5 stars on the offensive line. And they got JT Daniels. But one guy can't fix the whole offense for you. Once again, like I said before, I am not into 10 win. I don't see 10 wins on their schedule, let alone 11 wins like a few West Virginia fans have said. Which, that was just ridiculous. They even said teams at home have more motivation than on the road. That's basically saying they don't have any motivation to win on the road, which is not true. Because both teams are very, very motivated when they play against each other. And they even think I was contradicting because when I said I don't have see a 25-point swing from last year to this year on the game, because they did say Baylor last year lost to Oklahoma State pretty bad in 2020. And they compared that game to the Big 12 championship game, which you're not supposed. You can't compare those two games. First of all, COVID was a factor in 2020, and there was a lot of injuries at the end of the year. And second, the championship game was up for the line to win the Big 12. So, once again, I think West Virginia has an upgrade at quarterback, but I'm not sure about 10-win team. That's why I see only 8 wins at most. Maybe 9 wins if you're really pushing it, but 8 wins is realistic enough. Yeah, and I was right. Tony Mathis Jr. is the leading rusher returning, besides Garrett Green, and he's a backup quarterback. And he's not going to play. More likely than not. So, yeah. And now this is the 24th guy for West Virginia in football that has entered the transfer portal. That's a lot of guys. Anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. I see you guys later. Let's get me up to 400 subscribers or more by the end of this year.